Hello, and welcome back to the ladies. We have a lot of special guests today. We are talking about a very powerful subject today. The subject we will be addressing is domestic violence. But first, I'm going to go down the line and introduce everybody. Myself, I am Zandria, and this is Talia. This is Portia.
Hello.
And you all know the lovely Jana. So thank you for coming back. Please like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to leave a comment. We might just comment back. We appreciate all your support, and we're going to dig right into it. So I'm going to share with you a few things about domestic violence that you may or may not know. I'm going to read the definition off to you. So domestic violence, violent or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the violent abuse of a spouse or a partner. Some facts that I was interested and did not know or did know a little bit about were some of the alarming facts about domestic violence. So more than 1 in 3 women and more than 1 in 4 men, don't forget about the men, in the U.S. report have experienced some type of domestic violence. Unfortunately, most women who are killed by their intimate partner or men is due to domestic violence. Nearly 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men have experienced some kind of severe physical violence. And let's be clear about domestic violence. It's not only physical, it can be emotional, it can be sexual, it can be a whole bunch of things. So it's not just physical. Sometimes people get caught up on the physical. I'll share some more statistics with you in a little bit, but right now I wanted to go ahead and talk to Portia. She's going to share her powerful experience that she had with domestic violence with her partner.
Hi. Never in my life I thought I would even be in an abusive relationship. Just never thought, especially being part of the LGBT community. I met this girl when I was around 20, turning about 21 years old. It was around 2006, and we hit it off real well, and then things went south. I remember one day I was feeling ill, weak, and I just didn't have the energy to get up and fix her something to eat. Next thing you know, her fist was going across my face. It took me by surprise. All I can do was ball up and protect myself. I ended up having to go to the hospital with my 5-year-old daughter at the time, and to get stitches, to get stitches because she had busted my eye open. She apologized. Of course, I forgave her being young, not knowing, anything about it, coming from a broken home with just only a single parent. And I forgave her. It went good for about another 6 months. Then the cheating started. Then the abuse started again. She busted my nose open. It was days where I couldn't even go to work because I was physically too beat up to go. I would try to, even when I did go to work, I would try to hide my bruises. It got to the point where one of my supervisors had put me to the side and was like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And of course, me being embarrassed about the situation, I was like, "Oh yeah, I lied." And she was like, "Well, obviously you can tell something is going on, but I'll let you, whenever you feel like talking about it, to come to me." She's like, I'm keeping you in my prayers. And eventually I had got the courage. This is about 3 years later in the relationship. I finally got the courage to stand up for myself because it was getting to the point where I was ready to, physically hurt her back. Like I was having dreams of hurting her just because I thought I couldn't escape. I didn't have really no one to talk to because my family didn't like the fact that I was in a same-sex relationship. So it was kind of hard to even talk to anybody. I felt alone. I felt like, I didn't have nowhere else to go. I eventually lost my job behind it. I lost my place where I was residing. I had to give my daughter to my mom just because I didn't have a stable place to stay. I didn't physically give her custody. I just like, "Hey mom, can you take her because I'm not in a great position to take care of her." Of course she did, and I'm grateful for my mom for doing that. Excuse me.
No, it's all right.
But I made it through. It's been a long journey. It's been hard for her. It was hard for her to even let me go. She will stalk me on social media. She would, even when I got into another relationship years later, she would come and like hit me in my inbox, try to get my number. She was like trying to reach out to my family, and I had to let her know, like, you damaged me for the next person.
Wow. Do you ever feel like you're talking to your younger self now, going through that? What would you tell someone who's going through that currently? Because there's somebody watching this right now.
Run.
What would be your advice?
Ask for help as soon as possible. If they do it once, they'll do it again.
That's right.
That's if they do it once, they will do it again. Mm-hmm. The apologies, no, because if you really, really love that person, you will not put your hands on that person.
That's right. That's right.
At all, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a child. Don't discipline me. We're trying to be equal and make something of ourselves and make a connection so we can start a family. That's what we're here to do. And if you're gonna, break that bond, I can't trust you. I don't feel safe. Right. And at the end of the day, I had a daughter. And I was, a teenage mommy. So I had to do what I had to do, and it was difficult. And I'm glad I got away. I'm glad. I didn't know what was worse, the physical abuse or the mental abuse. It's kind of hard because both goes hand in hand. And I'm just thankful that God brought me out of it, because I could end up dead.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're here to share your testimony with us. Trust me, somebody's going through it right now, and they needed to hear that. So when you did leave, because that can be one of the most dangerous times to leave that type of situation, how did you go about that?
When I lost my place and I really didn't have nowhere else to go, I asked my best friend at the time, can I come stay with her? And of course she said yes. And she couldn't go with me, and I left, and I pretty much one day packed all my stuff and put it in storage and went to go live with my best friend.
Awesome. That's so amazing. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
That was a powerful testimony. Powerful testimony. I'm so glad you're here to share that with us.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're back with your baby girl.
Yes.
And that you had your mom, your best friend, to have your back and share that testimony with us.
Yes.
Ladies, do you have any questions for Portia?
Yes, I wanted to ask you, Portia, because I want to talk to parents. Parents who have children who might be living a lifestyle that they don't agree with. Parents who have children who are experiencing all kinds of abuse in their relationships. And you're a parent also. What would you say to the parents out there? What do you need them to understand so that they can stand with their children and give them the best assistance and protection that they can get?
Even though you don't necessarily agree with your child is doing, as long as they're on the right path and doing something positive in your life, be there for them.
Exactly.
Be there for them. Don't judge them because they're different from other people. No one's going to be the same. And everybody said, that's not normal, that's not normal, that's not right. But who's to say it's normal, and what is normal?
That's right.
What is normal?
That's right.
That's true. That's true.
I agree.
Thank you for that.
And love is unconditional.
Yes.
If you say you love that person, you may not understand it. It may take you some time, but just open up your eyes. Don't be so ignorant and don't be so judgeful and hurtful, because if you love that person, you should just love them unconditional. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back after the few words from our sponsors, and we have some more powerful testimony that we want to share with you. And thank you for staying tuned. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you in a little bit. We have a hot topic that's burning up the charts right now with women in politics.
For me as an immigrant woman, it's a really, really important time, because most of us come from countries where women haven't had that kind of power. And even if they have it, it's perceived.
We truly now have like a rainbow coalition of women from everywhere, from the eldest to the youngest. And what I saw also is that, I think in times past, women didn't support each other.
If the United States is still dealing with the first female governor, and we have other countries like Liberia and other countries and the Philippines that have had female presidents.
Do you think that the current tone and tenor of the current administration had any impact on the number of immigrant women that actually said, I'm going to run for office and I'm going to do this.
Oh, how can we deny that?
Welcome back. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'm going to introduce everybody who's on the show. We are discussing domestic violence, and Portia was so gracious to share her amazing testimony with us. My name is Andrea. This is Talia. This is Portia, and this is a lovely co-host, Jana. So we're going to get into a few more statistics, just because, again, when I was reading them and researching, I was surprised at some of these statistics. They says nationally, 50% of batterers who abuse their intimate partners will also abuse their children. So sometimes people don't even think of that part of the abuse. They just think of the two people that are in the relationship. And also, I was really sad and shocked to learn that domestic violence is on the rise with our youth. So we need to definitely talk about these things and talk about it in our home, in school, and educate our community that it's not just for older people. This statistic or this study was from teenagers. So teenagers range anywhere from 13 and up. So they've even seen it in 13-year-olds, which breaks my heart. So now we're going to turn it over to Talia, and she's going to share her amazing, powerful testimony with us. Thank you, Talia, for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me here to talk about something that is very difficult to talk about. Much like Portia, I am also a survivor of domestic violence, and it is something that is very difficult to talk about, right? Because, you see the outer part of somebody, but getting into domestic violence, you're getting into the inner part of the most deepest secrets. And that's what I did. I hid my domestic violence for quite a long time. So my domestic violence started with control. It wasn't immediately, I wasn't getting hit right off the bat. It was controlling my education, controlling where I worked, the friends I had. It got to a point where I wasn't able to spend time with my family, my mother. I ended up, shutting myself out from the outside world because I had so much mess going in. And then once he knew that he can have that much control, then it started with the physical abuse. And so he had separated me from all my friends, my family, my coworkers. I couldn't go to school. I mean, I could if I wanted to go online, but I couldn't physically go out. So one time I went out and another gentleman passed by and I got pinched on my back. And I was like, whoa, what is that? And when we got home, that's when the physical assault happened. Okay, so people have to understand that domestic violence, when you're being hit, you're being assaulted. You're not allowing someone to hit you or whatnot. And I do remember going to work the next day and I had to put makeup on my face. And we do watch a lot of these Lifetime movies where the woman, she's putting makeup on her face, she's trying to hide it. So I'm looking in the mirror and, putting makeup on my face. And I'm like, wait a minute, That's when I realized I'm that woman that's in that movie or that, domestic violence situation. And I didn't realize it, and then by that time I had no one to run to. Everybody had distanced themselves. So it took a lot for me to leave. Unfortunately, the day I did decide to fight back, I went to jail. I went to jail for domestic violence, a felony assault, because I fought back. And when the police came, I went into a shell, and the police didn't appropriately ask me what happened. They did ask me what happened in front of my assaultant, because that's what he was. He was assaulting me.
That's right.
And I got scared because I was like, oh my God, he's going to, if he finds out, if I tell on him. And even though with the police officers there, wow, I still didn't have enough courage to say, well, he hit me first. So that didn't happen. And they're like, nope, Mel, you're going to jail. We don't see no physical thing. And matter of fact, on top of that, we're going to give you a felony assault and domestic violence. And I spent about 2 weeks in jail. And it cost me a lot of money to get out. But laying in jail in an orange jumpsuit for fighting back, I knew then that something needed to change, because I too have a daughter and she's beautiful, and I couldn't imagine anyone putting their hands on Asia. Here I am in jail. I had to call my job from the jail cell to say, hey, I can't come in. Thank God it was a weekend. So I was saying, I'm not going to come in on a Friday. So again, I'm covering up his mess.
Right.
I didn't want anyone to know that I went to jail. Unfortunately, when I returned back on Tuesday to work, the jails had already sent information out to my job that I was arrested because I worked in the public sector and I worked with families of domestic violence. So I had to deal with a lot of that. And what encouraged me to leave again is I went to jail. So when I came back, my family, of course, found out what happened. They had no idea because I shut them completely out. And they helped me move my things. I packed up my things while he was gone at work. And I have been surviving and living my best life ever since. And I would never take it back. Yes.
Right. So let's follow up with that. So do you think that, because you have two daughters, how do you think they felt in the whole situation of things? Because you have an older daughter.
Yes, I have an older daughter and I had a younger daughter at the time. She was just an infant, a baby. So I really feel like it impacted my older daughter the most because we don't realize that our children are watching us. And I didn't want my daughter to see a weak mother. I don't want her to believe that she has a weak mother, even though I was very, very strong. So I know moving away, she's in college now. I'm a college mom. So I'm really excited about that. But I think it impacted her to see that, mom got away from it. She know what the signs are. This is something that I talk with my teenager on a regular basis, especially with her being in college, because a lot of abuse does happen while they're in college. So
Which makes sense because they're away from home.
Right.
And you're dealing with a whole bunch of different people that maybe you've never been exposed to, and you think you're in love and you don't know what love is, and then this happens and you're away from home. It's really easy to isolate because you guys were at home and isolated, right?
Yes.
And so I feel like that's the key here is that isolation and that control.
Right.
And then it spirals into a horrible, ugly animal.
Right.
Right?
It really, really does. And if you don't get a handle on it, like I said, he went from pinching me and, he went from pinching me to grabbing my arm, doing this, to where he was outright punching me in the face. The bloody nose, the broken eyes, and the broken eyes. At one point I had a weave in my hair. He didn't like it, so he cut it.
Wow.
And we didn't realize at the time, that is a form of abuse. You can't cut people's hair.
No.
He didn't like it, so he cut it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
that's
just on every aspect.
Yeah, on every level. Financial abuse. If I wanted to do something, I couldn't spend money. I had to ask him first. I didn't have money for myself. So it was very damaging. But I utilized that pain for my power for today. So that's how I'm able to talk about it and meet with amazing people like Portia and to say, keep going, you could do it. And that's where I'm at now.
Thank you, you guys, for sharing your testimony. That's so deep and powerful. I'm trying not to get
Don't do it.
It's such a powerful statement. I currently have a friend that's going through it, and I can't wait to share her your testimonies of survival and fighting through and just letting her know that she's loved.
Yeah.
Letting you know that you're loved, that people care for you, and that you need to be honest with yourself about the situation because, unfortunately, I know it has resulted in their death. Right. And that's man or woman. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people forget to talk about the men, but it applies to all. So we're going to go to a short break. And we please like, subscribe, and share. Comment. We want to hear your stories. Please reach out, and we'll definitely try to comment back. And we will be back in a little bit. Thank you, ladies.
Welcome to our show, The Ladies. The goal of this talk show is to bring to light and discuss issues in the news from 4 different perspectives. We strive to create a consistent, high-quality show that relates, entertains, engages, and builds an honest, transparent relationship with our viewers. We hope that by watching this unique show, you feel uplifted, enlightened, encouraged, and entertained. Our mission is to use the airwaves to bring to life engaging topics, transform our viewers' lives, and bring a sense of fulfillment into every home. Thank you for watching The Ladies, and welcome to the family of 4 ladies with 4 different opinions.
Welcome back to the ladies. My name is Zandria. This is Talia. This is Portia and Jana. We are talking about domestic violence today. It is a heavy subject, but definitely needs to be talked about. I'm going to share with you guys a few more statistics before we say goodbye. Only 1 in 3 people who are injured during a domestic violence incident will ever receive medical care. Most cases of domestic violence are never reported to police. I think that that's so powerful because they're never reported. So then if something like Talia was sharing with us, she went to jail, there's no pattern to show to the police that, no, this has been going on for a while. So we definitely have to report. And don't forget, men are also victimized substantially at a high rate that no one talks about because it's written off that, oh, you're a man, you can handle it. But domestic violence is domestic violence. So now we're going to talk to the ladies that shared their testimony. Jana had a few follow-up questions that we're going to go for, but I also want to reiterate that we are not domestic violence professionals. I do want to share with you the hotline number for domestic violence that's open 24 hours online to actually chat with someone or call is 1-800-799-SAFE. Again, it's 1-800-799-SAFE. And then Talia actually shared with us that there is something on the computer where it can be secret. So I'm going to let her talk about that as well.
So with that, when you're seeking an outlet to get out of your domestic violence situation, when you go to the national hotline, online they have it to where you can seek information, but you can also implement a code in an event that your abuser walks in the door or they're trying to trace your movement on the computer. The system is set up where it cannot be traced.
Wow,
so it's a great way to look for information without your abuser or your assaultant trying to figure out what you're trying to do, especially when you're trying to leave with your children.
Yes, it's the most dangerous time. And then I also wanted to talk about the 4 psychological stages of the battered woman syndrome, because people just think, well, why didn't you just leave? It's not that easy. You do physically and emotionally and psychologically feel like you are imprisoned, whether it's your home, out of the country, out of the state, or right here in your hometown. So the first is denial. The second is guilt. The third is enlightenment. And the fourth is responsibility. And responsibility is the time where you come, I call it a come to Jesus moment, and you let the people in your life or your tribe or your family know the truth, and then they can help you get out. And then we also have the resources that I shared with you earlier. But I know Jana had a powerful question to ask the ladies as well.
I wanted to ask you, I had a best friend. I wish I had known about domestic violence. I wish there had been a name for it 20 years ago when she and I were hanging out, because she lived with a person who was emotionally and physically abusive to her a lot. This was a working lady. She had a great job, but she was really emotionally soul tied to this guy. And one time in particular, I went to visit her to spend the weekend. And she had to go to the doctor and have a procedure. And the doctor was male. And so because it took longer than he felt it should take, he thought she was in the doctor's office doing something with the doctor.
Oh my gosh.
And so while I'm en route to meet her at her home, he's beating her almost to a pulp.
Good God.
And because when she came home, she had to rest, she was on medication, and he got angry with her. I'm sitting in the living room watching television, and he got angry with her in the bedroom, and he threw an iron at her that bounced off the wall, landed in the living room next to the sofa where I was, and missed me by that much.
Wow.
And I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know, should I call out? Should I go to the neighbors? But then in a split second, it angered me so badly. Not only that he was doing this to my girl, but he was doing it in front of me.
Right.
And didn't care.
No.
I'm like, I'm calling the cops.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and whatever you do about that, I'm going to be here when they get here.
Right.
Because sometimes we don't know. You know, you ladies can share. We don't know as friends or siblings. When do we step in? When do we stay out of it? What is our responsibility once we realize what's going on?
Yeah. Well, you never want to stay out of it. You never want to stay out of it. A lot of things come about where people say, well, you know, why are you so stupid? Why do you stay? It's not about being stupid. It's not about being ignorant.
not.
But when you're being assaulted and you're in a trap box, it has that same, you're like in a bird cage, I can't get out. So you never want to disconnect from that person. She might not like you at that time, but I promise you, she'll like you later.
Yeah, she'll love you.
She'll forgive you. And
thank you.
so it's really important to stay involved, stay encouraging. Never tell someone they're stupid. Always give them outlet. Put a little something in her hand. Let her know, hey, this is a code. When you text me a code, that means come get me, call the police, you know. And she will do that, you know, and just stay involved and let the abuser know, I'm not going anywhere. I think one of the great things about having a sister circle in a tribe is my friends, once they found out, they weren't going nowhere. They were right there. You know, what do you think you about to do? Fight us all. And that was my encouraging strength, my family. But you could never disconnect.
And I will say, having been a part of that as well with different family members or with close friends, is sometimes just the abuser knowing someone knows is embarrassing to them all of a sudden. Now all of a sudden they have a conscience about it. Because when it's quiet and you've isolated him or her and they haven't said anything, and then other people know and they're talking about it and they're telling you, no, that's not going to happen, then all of a sudden they have a conscience and now they're embarrassed. So that alone could save his or her life. Yeah, that alone. And then as far as for kids, I wanted to ask you ladies, because both of you are mothers, what do you now share with your kids about it? Are your kids, I know they were there and they were present, but what do you tell them now so that they don't continue the cycle later in life?
I always tell my daughter to defend yourself. Don't let no one stand in your way for anything. Don't let no one be controlling. If they try to tell you what to do, look in your phone, say you can't text this person, run. Run and don't look back.
I know that's right. I love that.
Yeah, my daughter, like I said, she's a teenager. She's very pretty. She's in college, so it shifts a little bit. She started dating. So one of the things I have to encourage her is to know yourself, be confident in yourself, know that no one is to touch you, inappropriately hit you, or anything like that, and let me know. You know, let me know. She had one little dude that was on the basketball team. He was very aggressive. So I had to check him and his mother.
That's right.
Exactly. Let me let you know right now. I had to check my daughter to let her know this is not appropriate.
It's not cute.
You know, it's not cute.
Flattering.
It's not, you know, no. You know, and just keeps instilling. And yeah, Mom, you're overreacting. Yep.
Okay,
yep. This is the things that I've had to experience.
Exactly.
You know, she knows, she's fully aware that I went to jail for domestic violence, and I would never want that for her.
Right, exactly. That's powerful. And I love how you said that. Of course, Mama Bear is always on it, right? And you know what? Again, thank you for sharing your testimony with us. Like you said, you hold that inside. It's just amazing and powerful. I really thank you, ladies, for sharing with us. I'm sure there's someone who's going through it right now. You guys how can they reach out to you, find out more information about you and what you're currently doing?
You can follow me on Instagram at Array, ARRAY, Hair by Portia.
Yes.
And that's PORCHA.
And if you need to talk to anyone and you're just not sure, you need an outlet, or you want to know how I did it, please contact me at my email at tataandmoon@gmail.com. I've been there, I have been in the fire, and I know how to extinguish it for sure.
Thank you so much, ladies. I so
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you real soon. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. And please let us know what you think about this episode. Bye.